Hello, you're watching Ellie from Elementary Paper Crafting. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the UK, and today I'm bringing you a project using this beautiful new stamp set called Peaceful Cabin. And this features in our new mini catalogue, which I have shown you on a couple of occasions, but it doesn't hurt to show you again. Again, sorry, I can't show you inside. You have to wait, I'm afraid, until August the 3rd is when this goes live to our customers. But as a demonstrator, I get to choose products from this catalogue early, and that enables me to show you. And if you're interested, you can request a catalogue from me. Along with this, we have the Celebration catalogue, and this one is full of free items. Yes, free items. So if you buy £45 worth of items from our annual catalogue or the mini catalogue, you can choose an item from the Celebration catalogue. So if you'd like a copy of either of these or both, just contact me and I can arrange that for you. Now, I absolutely adored this stamp set. There's a whole suite of products. I didn't take the whole suite, but I did get the stamp set, the dies, which are not in there, but let me just quickly, where are they? They're here. So there's a whole set of dies which cut out some of the images, some of the stamped images, and also there are some individual dies that work separately from that. So I'm not using the dies today, but I'm going to have a play with them over the weekend and come up with something to show you how they work. Another item that comes in the suite is the absolutely gorgeous designer series paper, and I really love this. So I've started using it already, as you can see, and I have cut a couple of sheets up, but just look how beautiful this is, and it's all in monochrome, so black, grey, white, and one side of each sheet is actually foiled as well. I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up, but oh, it is absolutely gorgeous. So that one's foiled as well. Lovely starry night. Gorgeous trees here. There's little silver stars all over that one. That's the trees again. Let's just pop that together. The stars. And this one, wow, look at that, like a wood grain effect. And this one I would like as wallpaper. That is so cool. And then some lovely trees here, kind of like in two borders. So imagine that cut in half put onto a card. Absolutely adorable. And of course they're double-sided, so you've got some nice sort of neutral pattern on that one. And that's the lovely cabin that matches the stamps. And more trees. The lovely gingham check. And tiny little diamonds in two-tone grey. That's really cute. And some more trees. So yeah, I absolutely love that pack of card. So that's that. Now, to begin the card I'm going to make, you need, let me just move the stamp set out of the way. You'll need, I'm using a large card base today. I like big cards. So I take a full sheet of card. Now I'm in Britain, so our card measures 8 1/4 by 11 and, well, it's an odd measurement. It goes to here. It's somewhere between 11 5/8 and 11 3/4, and I find that really difficult to fold in half evenly, so I always cut my card down to 11 and then I know that 5 3/4 is the halfway mark. So that's what I do to make it easier for myself, and then it's easier to measure my mats, etc. So whatever size your card is, just fold it in half, use your bone folder to make a nice crease down there and make a nice card. Now we call this A5 in Britain. Now for this card in particular, you're going to need to make another fold. So once you've made your card like this, your A5 card, put it back into your trimmer and put your fold line on this line, or you can simply take this line and go to 2 7/8, and when you're there you come down with your scoring blade. That's the light grey one. Do not use the dark brown cutting, okay, just the scoring blade, okay, and you come down and make another score line. From there you now fold the bit back that you've scored so that you make a fold back there. Some people call this a Z fold because of that shape. So when I've done that, I open this up before I burnish it with my bone folder, and then very carefully burnish that score line so that when you, I'm just going to reinforce this score line too, so that now we have a card like so. We're going to cut a sort of V shape from this, and it's not vital, the measurement I'm going to give you now, but I want to have a sort of cut across there, and it's going to go all the way from the middle of the card down here somewhere. So I'm thinking of, I'm just sort of in my mind working something out now. I'm thinking of probably going to, let's say 5. Yeah. So I'm going to put my card in here at this stage, and I'm coming up to the 5-inch mark there. Now, I'm not going to use my cutting blade. I'm using my scoring blade, and I'm simply going to make a little mark in my card there. Then I'm going to move the scoring blade down, and that mark I'm placing on to the groove there, and I'm bringing my card round so that it matches the groove here. And then I'm going to use the cut blade to come down and take that piece off. So now we have this. Now it's the first time I've made this card on this size of card. I've used it on an A6 card, which is half this size. Now, so I've just guessed that now, and when I'm looking at it, I think I actually need it to come down a bit lower. I need it a bit more of an angle. So all I'm going to do is put it back in, and I don't need to make any marks because I've already made a mark. I know that was too high. So I'm just going somewhere below that, coming back to this point, and I'm going to cut that again. And I much prefer that. I think it looks much better. So I'll tell you that that is actually 4 3/8 if you want to do it exactly the same as mine. Okay, so that's the cutting and scoring of your basic card. I'll put that over there out of the way. Now I wanted this particular card to look really luxurious. So I've built up a lot of layers because that always adds to your card. So I'm really going to big this one up. So the first layer is basic white cardstock, and this is what I'm going to stamp onto. And this piece measures 4 1/8 by 5.5 inches. I've then got a layer of one of our Newing colours, Evening Evergreen, and that measures 4 3/8 by 5 3/4. I've then got a piece of silver foil sheet, and that measures 6 by 4 5/8. And then I wanted a piece of black, I think it would just lift it all. I didn't have any ordinary black, I'd run out, and I found this piece of shiny mirror card from somewhere. So I'm going to use that, and that's 6 1/4 by 4 7/8. But just our ordinary black, basic black card will be fine. Now, as I've mentioned before, when I'm layering cardstock like this, there's a lot of bulk there, so that's going to make your card very heavy. And also, it's such a waste, because once these cards are matted one on top of the other, you're not going to see what's in the middle. So you've seen me do it before. I gut the card. So I'm going to show you just with that one, in case you haven't seen my video where I've done this before. And then I'm going to do the others off camera. Okay, so all you do is take your trimmer, and I turn it sideways. I find it easier to read off my numbers if I do it this way. I place the card in the trimmer at the 1/2 inch mark here, and then I move my blade. Let me just move that over a minute. I move my blade down to 1/2 inch. So from 1/2 inch, I go down to a 1/2 inch mark before the end of the card. So that's going to be 5 1/4. Leave it there. Turn the card round. Put it back onto the 1/2 inch mark. Come back to your 5 1/4, and then cut back up to the 1/2 inch. Turn it 45 degrees. Put it back in at 1/2 inch. Come down, and I'm scoring down to 4 to meet the line I've just cut. Turn it round, back at the 1/2 inch mark. Come back up to my 1/2 inch mark, and I've taken the centre out of the card. So that piece of card I can pop back into the drawer, and then I can use that for other projects. So that will probably be used to die cut something from. So I'm just going to cut these others out off camera. So I'm going to pause you for a minute, and I'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, so I'm back now, and I've gutted all those pieces of card. So now they will stack on top of each other like so, with that nice border all the way around. Oh, excuse me. Now, I've also taken 2 pieces of that lovely DSP I showed you and cut them to measure 2 5/8. No, I beg your pardon, it's, yes, 2 5/8. The one for the front panel measures 6 1/2, and this one measures 8. So the idea is to pop them onto there with a little border all the way around. Now, it's a bit difficult to measure and cut this to fit properly. So what I tend to do is place the tallest piece, the piece I want to use on the back, on that piece, and I position it with the border equal each side. Actually, that needs to come over a little bit. Yeah, that's better. And then at the bottom, I leave a border twice as deep as I want it to be. Move it up a bit. Put the paper clips on. That will keep the card where you want it. Turn it over and hold it level here from the back, and cut against your card base like so. Be careful not to cut the card. In doing so, you've ensured that the top angle is correct. So when you come to stick it, you've got that same border all the way round. And now I'm going to repeat the exercise on the front piece. Now do be careful that you are measuring it on this side and not the inside. All right, so make sure, fold your card in the way it's going to look, and make sure you're putting it on the right side. So again, I'm just going to measure that all the way around equal distance, move it up a bit at the bottom so it's twice the distance I want it to be. Pop my paper clips on to keep it in the right place. Turn it over, hold on to it, and cut against that line. Okay, and then when we bring that down, that's going to fit beautifully on there. Okay, so that's kind of like how it's going to look. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to use the dies, but while I was away cutting these cards down, I actually did cut some lovely trees using the dies and some basic white cardstock, which I've decided would look really nice if I pop them onto this piece. So I'm just going to pause now and stick all of these things down onto the card base so that it doesn't take too much time. Okay, so I'm back now and I've stuck down my DSP just with some Tombow adhesive and also placed the Christmas trees on the front. So now I'm ready to start decorating the inside of the card. So I'm going to have it out nice and flat, and I'm using one of our new masks. Again, this is from the mini catalogue, and it comes from a pack of 4 masks, and the pack is called Adorning Designs Masks. I'm using Smoky Slate stamp pad and a blending brush, and I actually only want to decorate the outside of this card because the smaller panel that I showed you is going to be stamped, placed in the middle. So I'm just going to take the stencil and so load up your brush quite heavily so that you get a good colour on the bristles, and then just take a little bit off before you start, otherwise you'll get a nasty sort of dark smudge. I'm just going to very lightly put some colour over these snowflakes. Incidentally, I never realised this before, but these stencils have like a shiny side and a matte side, and I realised today that if you put the shiny side down, they're easier to use. If you try and stencil on the shiny side, they're sharp and you kind of pick up the bits, but doing it the other way round, it's kinder to your brush. It's easier to do the blending. That's fine, that's all we're going to need. So that's my base to start on. So that's our card base prepared. Then we're going to take that piece of Whisper White, or Basic White, sorry, which was 4 1/8 by 5.5, and this is what we're going to stamp onto. So from the stamp set, I'm taking the cabin itself, and I'm going to stamp that in basic grey. Now I've only got the tiny stamping spot in this colour. So we'll just ink it all up, and obviously when you've got a stamp that's bigger than the stamp pad, you need to bring the stamp pad to the stamp, not the other way around, which is what you normally do. So that's, I've inked up the cabin and try and get it central. I'm not pressing down very hard. I'm just resting the stamp on the card, and you give it just a little while for the ink to transfer to the cardstock. Okay, you don't need to press really hard like you're doing CPR with stamping. And then just bring it straight up and you get your lovely impression of your cabin. I'm using the same block. This is an E block, and I'm taking the Christmas trees and I'm going to put those on the block like so. Now this is going to be quite a monochromatic card. I like all the different shades of grey, the grey and white in this, but I'm bringing one colour in, and that colour is Evening Evergreen, which is one of the new 5 in colours. And so I'm going to mask off my cabin. So all I did was stamped the cabin again onto a large piece of post-it note paper. Now, if you wanted to, you could keep these, you know, within the colour and stick to black or grey. That's completely up to you. But I just wanted a little bit of colour in it. So place this so that, you know, when you're stamping it now, it looks like you're going to stamp over your cabin. But when we peel off the mask, you should see that the trees look as if they're behind it. So again, just leave that for a second or two for the ink to transfer. Lift straight up, peel off your mask, which is stuck quite fast, and voila, your cabin is in front of your trees. So then the next stamp I'm going to use is the little fence, and I think this is absolutely gorgeous. It's such a lovely effect. So for that, I'm actually going to use our basic black. And I mean, the good old thing about this is these old cabins weren't perfect, and the land wasn't perfect. Everything wasn't perfectly straight. So, you know, you can stamp this at a jaunty angle and it's absolutely fine. It doesn't have to be dead straight, spot on. You know, the lines don't have to line up, because, you know, when you go around these properties, you'll see a lot of it's quite higgledy-piggledy, quite thrown together. Fences have fallen down, they've been repaired, not perfectly, and it just gives an authentic feel to that kind of property. So just pop the other one in now, and you'll see I popped a bit of paper under there just to take that, and that's the kind of feeling you get from these old properties. And there's an adorable little fox in this stamp set, and I thought I'd bring this fox in to look like he was sneaking up to see if he can find any chickens. So I'm just bringing him in. I'm using basic grey again, and I'm just bringing him in the bottom left hand corner here. So he's just come from the woods and he's coming in to see what he can find. There could be a little chicken house around the back that we can't see. And the next thing I'm going to do is add my greeting. And I've chosen, "May you enjoy the peace of this beautiful season." So I'm going to place it at the top. I know I don't like putting things right in the middle. I always think they look nice if they're offset slightly. So I'm going to place it sort of round about here. So it's not this on this end, it's not on that end, it's not in the middle, kind of like here. And I'm just going to use that green again just to emphasize that it's there. And about there, I think. Again, don't have to press hard, specifically with text stamps. If you press down too hard, you can distort the wording and make it look just a bit smudged, really. The edges won't be clear. So that's my greeting in place. I think that's a really lovely sentiment. And then the final bit of stamping is going to be these lovely little stars here. So I'm going to stamp those in Versamark ink. And just randomly around the top of the card. And you'll notice that I'm stamping off a little bit so that they're not always in the same format. Now I'm going to turn my heat tool on for a few minutes to warm up while I'm putting on my embossing powder, so I do apologise for the noise. So I find it easier to use my embossing powder if I pop it into a plastic tub like this. I've got a little spoon and I use it over a piece of card like so, and then I slide it back into the pot like so, and then this goes back in so that we don't waste it. That'll be reused. And then if you've still got some on there, you can just pop that back in your pot as well. It does get everywhere, so do try and remember to brush it off your worktop. Now, if you find you get any extra bits on your card that you didn't want, simply get a tiny brush and use it to just brush those bits off. And I forgot to use my little, oh, I forgot what it's called now. I think it might be called an embossing buddy. And I keep mine in a little thing like that. Unfortunately, Stampin' Up don't sell them anymore, but they're available all over the place. And it's just a little bag of powder and it stops that happening. Okay, so now I'm just going to bring my heat tool in, which will be nice and warm now. And if you heat from the back for a second or two, you'll see your card starts to bend. But then as you heat the front, you'll find, because you've warmed up the card, it doesn't warp quite so much. Sorry about all the noise. So that's my lovely twinkly stars with the lovely silver embossing. So I'm just going to make sure that that's dry before I pop some tear and tape on the back. So all I'm going to do is take the tear and tape in an old card, put it nice and close to the edge of your card because you don't want any card peeling up from your project. So just make sure you press that down nice and firmly, and then using my trick that I always do, peel away the corners and take my first mat, which is the Evening Evergreen, and then place that evenly on my mat, and then wiggle it about a little until you're happy with your borders. And I just press down on the corners and then peel away the backing tape. Now I've already gone ahead and put backing tape on these, so I'm just going to go ahead and stick these on. So there we are. That's all ready now to mount onto our main card. So that's going to go in the centre there. So that's how our card's looking now. And just to finish it off, I'm taking another item from the suite, which is a subtle shimmer sequins. And these are absolutely gorgeous. They come in white, silver and grey. They are just adorable. And all you need to do with this is to take some Tombow adhesive. I've put mine into the fine tip applicator again because it's easier for me to use. And I'm just going to place some little dots of glue here and there on my project. Just pop those in place. And they really do add a little something to the project. So I'm going to think I'll add a couple over here as well on the front, on the perhaps on the top of these Christmas trees. I've taken out a tiny one here because I think that'll look better on the trees. Okay, so that's my finished card. I'm going to hold it up to see, hope you get that sparkle from the shimmer sequins. So if you're watching this on my Facebook page, would you please click the follow button, give me a thumbs up and like my page, etc. If you're watching on YouTube, then I'd love you to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share, press all those buttons for me, please. This is my online shop. So if you do want to buy any items, you can use this address. This is the July host code. If you use that host code when you order, I will send you an extra gift. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll pop a link to my shop in the description box below. And if you're on Facebook, at the top of the page, there's a little button that says shop now, and it'll take you straight there. Thank you so much for watching today, and I really hope that I'll see you back here again. Bye bye for now.